How you doing, and welcome to Neither Real Music. I'm Ed, and these are the basics. In this video, we're going to be looking at 3 different versions of G major in open position and a G Mixolydian scale. Before we get started, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell so you know when your next lesson is happening. For our first version of G major, we're just going to take our 3rd finger and put it on our 3rd fret of our 1st string. We're then going to play the strings 1, 2, and 3 all together. So string 3 is G, string 2 is B, and then our 3rd finger on our 3rd fret of our 1st string is another G. All together they sound like this. This is our first implied chord. The notes of a G chord are actually G, B, and D. But we have 2 out of the 3, which gives us enough to make a person's ear believe that they are playing the whole chord. What you can do, if you accidentally, or on purpose in this case, hit our 4th string with no fingers, D, and add that into the chord, it will actually make the chord sound more full to the person's ear. Both of which are absolutely correct, but for purposes of what I'm showing you, you really only need your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string. For the next version of the chord, we're going to be doing a full G chord. There are a number of different ways of playing any chord. The fingering that I'm going to show you is related to how I like to play it. If you have a different fingering, feel free to use it. My versions are used to get me to other chords easier, but we'll talk about that in another video. So the first version of a full G chord starts with my 3rd finger on my 3rd fret of my 6th string, G. Next will be 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 5th string, B. Try to keep all of your fingers in place. Next is your 3rd string with no fingers, D. 3rd string with no fingers, G. 2nd string with no fingers, B. And you could play your 1st string with your 4th finger on your 3rd fret, G. Put them all together, and they sound like that. As I'll state in every video, if you find that you're losing notes, remember to keep your knuckles in front of the fretboard of the guitar. This will mean that you have enough arch that you could play all of your strings. Another common mistake that for some reason people do with G more than anything else, they like to straighten their fingers out and push their wrist really far out in front of the fretboard of the guitar, which nearly makes your pinky and your ring finger straight. This can make a good clean chord, but it'll make your wrist really uncomfortable after a while. This comes from not allowing your pinky to bend into a proper arch that goes up and over the string and then back down. So try not to straighten your fingers when playing anything other than a bar chord. A different version of a G chord that's also a full G chord, built like this. Instead of using your 3rd finger on your 3rd fret of your 6th string, we're going to replace that with our 2nd finger, 3rd fret, 6th string, G. Now our 1st finger is going to replace what was our 2nd finger, so 1st finger, 2nd fret, 5th string, B. We still have our open D, our open G. Now our 3rd finger has moved to our 3rd fret of our 2nd string, D. And our pinky is still on our 3rd fret of our 1st string, G. When we put that all together, it sounds like this. There's very little difference between the two chords. This is why pick the one that works best for you and that you could switch to quickly. As long as it works with the song and the pace you're learning to play the song, any version of a chord will work. Whether it's this, whether it's this, whether it's this, whether it's just these on the bottom. Pick the one that fits best. And if you see a version of the chord that really doesn't work for you in a song, try to find one that does, and you could replace it. So if the G in a song is uncomfortable the way that the original is being shown, replace it with one that works. Now we're going to look at our G Mixolydian scale in open position. As I did with the F Lydian scale in the prior video, I'm going to break it down into a couple of pieces and then put them all together by the end. Our low octave is going to start with our third finger on our third fret of our sixth string G. Move down a string, fifth string, no fingers, A. Second finger, second fret, fifth string, B. Third finger, third fret, fifth string, C. Move down a string, fourth string, no fingers, D. Second finger, second fret, fourth string, E. Third finger, third fret, fourth string, F. And move down a string, third string, no fingers, G. Putting that all together, it sounds like this. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Let's try that with some time and a tablature. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's hear that with a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to move on to the higher octave, starting with our third string, no fingers, G. Next will be our second finger on our second fret of our third string, A. Move down a string, second string, no fingers, B. First finger, first fret, second string, C. Third finger, third fret, second string, D. First string, no fingers, E. First string, first fret, F. Third finger, third fret, first string, G. Let's put that all together. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Let's try that with some time and a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's hear that with a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'm going to do is play both the low octave and the high octave ascending with time and a tab so you can follow along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's check that out with a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. From here, we're going to start working on it descending. So we're going to be starting with my third finger on my third fret G. I'm just going to go through these because if you practice them ascending, everything is in the same spot. So third finger, third fret G. F, E, D, C, B, A, G. Let's check that out with some time and a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's hear that with the tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to start on our lower octave. This one starts where we left off on our third string with no fingers. G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G. Now we're going to try that with time and a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's hear that with the tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to play both octaves descending, starting with my third finger on my third fret of my first string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's hear that with a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last, I'm going to play the whole thing ascending and descending with time and a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's check that out with a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you find lessons like this useful, please subscribe and ring the bell. This way you know when your next lesson is happening. If you really enjoy lessons like this, please consider joining my Patreon. There, I will be putting up more in-depth lessons that talk about how to use these things, rather than just going over basic ideas. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I do enjoy compliments, but questions let me know that you're working on this stuff. Good luck and good practice.